Hello everyone, this is day 6 of me reading every day to improve my speaking. Let's go. So it's currently in chapter 6, okay? Chapter 6. A beard spoke to her. My name is Rory. I'll be looking after you tonight, it explained. There was a face amongst the hair but mired in grogginess. Thea couldn't focus on it. A door slid open with a sigh. This is your preliminary sleep assessment. You passed the interview stage. Well done. We have a few questions to get through first. Just some routine paperwork. And then we can begin. You will spend the night here and will monitor your sleep. As you know, this is the final stage. If we approve you here, that's it, you're in. You have your overnight back. The building she'd arrived at was nothing special, and frankly, special was what they had been expecting. The clinic room had made up for that a little with its white surfaces like shiny icing on a cake. It was small but more expensively fit out than the whole of her own house. The bed had a reassuringly plump, reassuringly plumped oh my god, where is it, bro? Oh, mattress. At least she'd be comfortable with lying awake in the dark for the whole night. I can watch TV? Thea asked. Rory smiled, but it was hard to see under the beard. His eyes were kind though. He was the only slightly scruffy thing about. Wait a minute. Okay. I need a light, bruh. The room with his saggy trousers and a faded t-shirt that had once probably had a superhero reference on it. Of course, he said. You're not in prison, Miss Mackenzie. Sleep was a demanding guard who requires silk pillowcases and expensive room sprays, hypnotherapy, and the soundtrack of a gentle river flowing through a forest. She tried everything except this. Ready? Rory asked. 6 hours later, the high-pitched wail of an alarm didn't wake her up because she hadn't yet fallen asleep. Her mind didn't race at night because that would suggest that it could eventually tire itself out. No, her mind feels like the clear fusion, something with an infinite capacity to continue visiting no matter how late or early it got. The overhead light blazed into life, nearly blinding her, squinting and disorientated by the sound. Thea scrambled out of bed, not sure what was going on, but pretty certain she didn't want to be in bed to greet it. Rory appeared as she was fumbling with her slippers. She felt herself blush under the bright light, awkward in her sensible pajamas. He yelled something she couldn't hear above the pounding, painful sound of the alarm. Rolling his eyes, he came into the room and took her arm, leaning in close. For some reason, she was acutely aware that her pajamas had penguins on them. In scarves. So sorry, fire alarm, we have to go. A few minutes later, Thea was standing in the clinic car park in her fluffy slippers, damp spreading into them from the wet ground. The building itself was a drab blot of grey behind them, and the street lights turned the puddles to gold. Rory had unplugged her, but there had been no time to unstick all the patches and wires, making her look like an unfinished science experiment that she was. Other members of the sleep trial and their attendants miled around, making polite small talk and exchanging sympathetic glances. So, do you come here often? A man in short and a t-shirt nudged her, his feet bare and turning a mottled purple from the cold. Varicose veins bulged up on his skinny legs like inquisitive worms. He was obviously pleased with his wit. Thea didn't like being nudged. She tried to avoid eye contact with him, but he moved in front of her. An expectant grin on his face, Thea turned to stare at the chain link fence. She heard the man sigh. It don't cost anything to be pleasant. Cheer up, love. Thea took a deep breath. Hit whoosh, not over but through her. She felt as if it could shoot out of her eyes, like she'd seen in superhero films. If she looked at him, she would turn him to ash. Cheer up, love. Be pleasant, even if your brain feels as if it could ooze through your nose. Smile, even if this might be your last chance to get help and you are wasting it out here in the car park wearing soggy slippers. The nice man wants a pleasant conversation. Be nice to the man. It was a well-known side effect of poor sleep, wasn't it? Recklessness. She read that somewhere. What happened next, therefore, wasn't strictly her fault. She took a step closer and brought her knee out hard, aiming his crotch, but he, seeing the intention in her stare, angled away just in time and she ended up kneeing him in the thigh instead. So sorry, Rory, hurriedly appeared between them, leading Thea away and calling back over his shoulder. She deeply disturbed, shouldn't be unsupervised. She tried to knee me in the balls. The man shouted after them. No, no, that was just an uncontrollable leg twitch. Rory interjected before Thea could say anything. He plunked her on a low wall. What are you doing? He was a creep, she said, crossing her arms. The world is full of them. Rory sighed. Can't knee them all in my balls. In the balls. The fuck in my balls? There was the man shiver as he walked away, his shoulders beginning to hunch. He looked older and thinner than she'd thought. Now that he was further away, it was easy to call him a creep, she found herself thinking, when in fact he'd maybe just been another exhausted human being like her, trying in his own ham-fisted way to make connection with someone, anyone, but because it was cold and dark and wide awake. Nights lasted a very long time. Look, I'm sorry, but we've just been told that this session will be called off for tonight. Rory looked down at his clipboard, a plastic ink stamp dangling from it on a piece of string. Surprisingly low-tech for such a cutting-edge company. Can't really get any useful data after this. It's a shame because this was the last round of tests before the trial begins. You were so close. And to her complete surprise and shame, Thea felt hot tears forming. You mean that's it? In a moment, she felt the weight of all the years she still had left. All those sleepless years, and that weight crushed her. Rory considered her. There was a little lines fanning out from his eyes, and Thea thought he was probably one of those people who had a proper, hearty, throw your head back laugh. It's what? Around 4 in the morning, he said. You've been awake the whole time, and you've lived like this for too long. Pretty much all your adult life. Whoa, he exhaled. Rory gazed at her thoughtfully. There imagined him in some sort of flat share where they all got takeaways and lounged around on cushions on the floor. It was a kind of place where there were always dirty dishes in the sink and a permanent message on a chalkboard in the kitchen. Buy milk. Thea never ran out of milk. She had her groceries delivered every week. Look, I wouldn't normally do this. What? For a crazy moment, Thea thought he was going to ask her out on a date. Would she want to go on a date with him? He was nice enough looking. Under the beard, and he'd been kind to her, but it was dark and she couldn't see him properly. And beards gave you a rush, didn't they? He angled away from her for a few seconds. fumbling with his clipboard. Then he glanced to see if anyone was near. It was done so quickly. One moment he'd bent toward her and Thea hadn't known what to think. The next he was gone. There was a piece of paper in her hand. Thea took a closer look. It was all about her: weight, height, sleep history, some graphs, and numerical data that she couldn't decipher. But more importantly, the form had been stamped client approved. That's it for this video. I see you in the next day. Peace out.